mandatory, but suffering is optional.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa and
Cynthia Kahi.
Here
Good
on
morning.
NBC News Radio, CNBC News, and NBC Sports, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, Amazon Music, iTunes, TuneIn, Podchaser, JioSaavn, Spreaker, Rumble, Tiki Live, and more. I am Dr. Marissa, your hashtag positively opinionated host, and today is special series Fired Up Fridays. Hashtag up, meaning hashtag unlimited possibilities with my beautiful, wonderful, fabulous co-host, Cynthia Kahi. Welcome back for your Friday edition of this show. Welcome to
Hi,
Cynthia.
I'm Dr. Marissa. You know me as the Asian.
I'm looking for the applause. Hold on. I am here looking for the applause. I'm going to have Polly's so awesome. He got it for beat me to that applause button. It is 1-0. So I don't know, Polly, if you know, Sam and I have this thing on Thursdays. We're trying to beat each other to the applause button. But I'm so delighted that you're here. We're doing this remote. I am in my brother's office in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Oh, Canada, my former home and native land. And peace in and peace out to the Queen, as she lived one of the fullest lives that I know. And I used to be part of that system until I left this country at age 17-ish and went to grad school in the States. But I grew up singing that anthem. And I don't know if you knew that. So I am Canadian by birth. And I'll tell you a funny story. When she first came in 1980 something, she went to the theme park. And I heard in the news that she was not allowed to go on the roller coaster because it may cause her to lose control of her emotions. Isn't that interesting? So
I guess you have to put up appearances. You have to be a certain way, right?
Yeah. But I'm hoping she got to let loose somewhere, because watching that the Queen, the series, it very much highlighted the other side of monarchy. You know, we just see the pomp and circumstance, and you know, some people have strong opinions about that old whatever, but they you know, definitely wasn't easy to do what they did. So, but anyway, so I digress.
For sure, I can only imagine.
You ready to do gratitude? You ready to have breakfast with me?
Yes.
Taking a bite of our gratitude sandwich this morning. What are 8 things that you're grateful for? I see your eyeballs. Thank you for love streaming with us. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube channel. If you're driving, do not chat. But if you're not, please put your gratitudes in the chat and share with us. Go ahead, Cynthia. What are you specifically grateful for this morning?
I am grateful for the art of communication.
I am grateful that we just got a heart on the stream.
I am grateful, oh goodness, for the sunshine today. It's shining bright.
I am grateful that I get to travel into different places. I love airplanes, the magic of flight.
Actually, I do too. I just came back from one, and I'm going to ditto that because I love to fly. I'm super grateful for the ability to travel.
I am grateful for my mom being out of the hospital and
Wonderful.
back in the retirement home. So very grateful for that. Last one. Oh, that was the last one. That was the last one. And that's the top of the button. 8 specific gratitudes. We are trying to encourage you to exercise your muscle of self-care. And there's nothing that can flip you into the best feeling possible if you are grateful. Last part of this exercise is the bottom of the button. And this is where we appreciate ourselves. Another muscle that is not very used, because we're told when we're kids to not be all that, or not to brag, or not to toot your own horn. And this is not thinking that you're God's gift to a guy or a girl, but this is a self-awareness that you are 88% fabulous, right? 12% of the time I still step into it, but I want to highlight the things that are good, parts of me that I appreciate. So, Cynthia, you get to start.
I get to start. I appreciate my kindness. Even when people are not, I am. So, I appreciate that.
I appreciate my humor, that I try to find something to laugh about every single moment of the day.
I appreciate my patience.
I appreciate my word play. I love making up new words and playing around with communication.
You do that well. I appreciate my optimism. I appreciate my optimism.
Hey, in comparison to when we first started doing this, the first one you were like, and now you came to 3 before you hesitated, which is amazing.
Great.
Last appreciation, my ability to dance, which I've been posting in my reels. And this morning, an hour after I posted, there's 4,115 likes on my dance.
You're adorable and you move really well. It's so fun to watch. I love it. Brings me a smile.
I was taught by a brother in high school, by the way.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that is our breakfast. I hope it is delicious for you as it was for us. That is the most positive way to start your day, with breakfast with Cynthia and Dr. Marissa with the gratitude sandwich. So we will. I'm going to do that. You know, that yellow pig gif that dances like this. So that's my new applause dance. All right. Topic for the day. And as I describe this topic, Cynthia's going to go on Instagram and start that feed. And maybe we can get some people to join in on that platform as well. Because today is an incredibly fabulous and not so... I didn't see that chat. Sorry. This topic, I picked it on purpose. I was very vulnerable yesterday. I don't know if you caught yesterday, not yesterday, the day before show, was it? Yes, I was very much on this. We had dream interpretation, and I was really honest about forgiveness and my mom and my dad and things, because my caller, or the dream interpreter person who was getting her dreams interpreted, was very vulnerable about her feelings for her father, who is on the other side, all the things that she didn't get to talk to him. And I shared as well my complex relationship with my mother that some of you know about and some of you don't. But if you've read the book 8 Ways to Happiness, you know that I've taken that statistic of 8 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma. Much of that trauma is with our parents growing up. And how do you live a life without blaming your parents or ostracizing your parents or completely cutting your parents out of your life when it's been less than optimal? And in my case, it was my mom, and mom seemed to be a trigger topic as well when people are talking about difficult relationships. So I thought, Cynthia, let's just put the moose on the table on this one, and let's figure out what positive solutions we can have when it comes to improving our relationships with our mom, or as moms, our relationship with our daughters. So this is going to be the first opening. I'm sure we're going to talk about this, and maybe we'll do a little mini series around it. But I thought this would be a great topic, especially now that I'm here in Toronto with my mom. So that is your mic is muted. So I will let you unmute your mic, Cynthia.
We are live on Instagram. I just went live on Instagram, and what a topic. Moms. I mean, it's funny perspective, right? Because we're moms now. We know what happened in our past, in our relationship with our mother, right? Mine, not gonna lie, was a little rocky, lots of things. I did send her the link for this, so I'm not sure if she's listening.
Oh, really?
Yes, we are in an amazing place right now, which is awesome. And I was thinking about this topic when you sent it to me, and I was like, yes, it's interesting, the stages. You have your childhood, you have your teenage / early adult years, and then you have your adult years, right? So I was thinking about my past relationship with my mom and the 3 stages of our relationship. And it's right now been the best that it's ever been, except for when I was a kid. I can remember sometimes that were pretty darn good. But again, it's the evolution, just like anything, right? When you're younger, you don't know as much as you do when you're older, right? And I was thinking about that. There's a lot of interesting stages to life, but in the very beginning, even for me as a mom, right? I have 3 daughters. I have 3 lovely ladies, and I do truly believe you get what you get for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have been a boy mom. I don't know. I don't know how I would have done it, because I watch these kids. I have 3 cousins. Actually, I have 5 boy cousins, but 3 of them I'm super close to. Like I used to babysit them. And so and this was before I had kids. This was before I had kids of my own. And so I think the dynamic moms and daughters versus, moms and sons, obviously very, very different, right?
Yeah. Do you mind joining me on the Instagram?
Did we
No, I'm not on there.
No. Did you ask to join? We do this every time. I have to
know,
ask.
Right?
Let me ask.
I requested like 3 or 4 times. I was waiting.
Which is so funny because it never comes up. But in any case, I just invited you.
There we go.
There we go.
Exactly what we were waiting for. Perfect. Hello. I'm not just this voice in the background.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah. So we'll see if your mom joins. That'll be fun. You have 3 daughters. I have 2 daughters, so we're qualifying here on what we're talking about when we talk about mothers and daughters. I have about to be 88. I'm giving her a birthday party on Saturday for 88
Wonderful.
years young.
So happy.
Out of the hospital, and thank you for all your kind. She's been checking up on me all week to see how I'm doing over here in Canada. She almost died on Tuesday. Her blood. Her pulse was 40. Her blood oxygen was 40. They didn't think she was going to make it. She had sepsis, pneumonia, fluid in her lungs. It was just a not good time. And so I got on the FaceTime in the room, and I told her everything that I wanted to if I had been there, and thank God for technology. And she couldn't speak because she had the oxygen mask on, but a miracle happens. She's very strong. She cleared up everything, was released. She's back in her retirement home, and now I get to go look for the next step for her, which is long-term care, which I'm having fun with. Sarcasm is another service I offer. But, this is where the Canadian medical system is very superior in terms of what the government offers. So I'm grateful for that. I went to my first visit yesterday, and I go, and that's free, and that's free, and that's free. And really, it's not free because my father paid 55% tax his entire life, which is, we pay for it in the States after the fact. In Canada, they pay for it before the fact. So, everybody's paying for it. And of course, you should be paying for care. I mean, that's just the bottom line. But I have two daughters, Chloe May and Sarah Way. And Chloe just turned 25, quarter century. Sarah's about to turn 23 on the same day my mother turns 88. They have the same.
Really?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And if it's not one thing, it's your mother.
I thought that was great. Play on words. I thought that was great.
So that's what we're talking about. So if you have any thoughts or opinions on mothers, this is the show to begin to do that. And did your mother sign
No,
up?
I was just curious if she was. Sometimes she watches on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Well, she'll probably do it after. But again, this is not a mother bashing session, but it is a real talk about, the realness of the complexities of mother-daughter relationships. And I'll just throw out some things that I've learned from coaching people with mother issues. And the first one is there's only 2 times in your life when you do not have mother issues: when you're born and when you die. I would say that 88% of the people that I either coach or know or are friends with have mother issues. So if you have mother issues, you are not alone. It is not the majority of people who have what they call that perfect, your mother's your best friend, your mother thinks you're the best thing since sliced whatever, your mother is your biggest cheerleader, if your mother sees you as the most beautiful daughter in the world, your mother is thinks you are. And if you have that with your mother, be grateful, because you are not the majority. Now, I haven't done research on that, but in my experience, I have people who say, I ask them, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And they will say, not my mother. I mean, I literally will have people say that. So I know that I'm not alone in the complicated relationship that I had with my mother.
Well, it's funny because as you say those words, I think about the times in my life where I was like, I'm not my mom. We look a lot alike. And we have Italian roots, so we're very, very strong-minded. So I think that when two people are a lot alike, it tends to really echo each other. And so it's harder to find a middle ground. For me, as I grew up, circumstances are huge. Sometimes you do the best you can with what you've got, right? My childhood, I'm just going to put it out there. It could have been better, but I'm grateful for what it gave me, because I say this every day in my gratitude journal. I am grateful for my mother's perseverance. If my mom would not have shown me perseverance, I don't know I would be as strong as I am today. So I flip it. It wasn't the best. There's a lot of things that I thought before that I could change or would change. But now it's just part of my journey. And I think that, one of my philosophies is life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react. But again, one of those things is it's the evolution of us, right? My mom and I, when I was younger, we had a different relationship. She was the mom. She was the one, you know what I mean, who had the education and was doing the things the best of her knowledge to her abilities, right? When you grow, life changes. You have different things that give you different circumstances, give you different knowledge. And so it's just the evolution. I think the relationship part of it and the communication part, that is the part that is beautiful and can be what you want it to be. Sometimes you have two people willing, sometimes you don't have two people willing, right? You can have a really stubborn mom. I have a best friend, one of my best friends, she's got a really difficult mom in multiple ways, but she deals with it very well, right? And sometimes as we get older, even as you see right now, the roles get reversed, right? We flip them. Then the child, the daughter, right, has more knowledge than the parent because just, again, it's the evolution, right? So that's what I think. I mean, it is what you make it. If you want to have a relationship, just like any relationship, mother, daughter, employees, relatives, no matter what, it's what effort that you put into it, right?
Yeah.
I get that moms are difficult. I get that some children are difficult. But as we grow and we learn, we put new tools in our toolbox, and then we learn how to have a relationship.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You make it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that one of the reasons why we have difficult relationships is we have that unrealistic expectation that it's supposed to be a really good relationship. I remember when I lived in Waterloo, I was born in Kitchener-Waterloo Hospital in Ontario, and I grew up in Kitchener first and then moved to Waterloo when I was 7. And my best friend was Karen Rogers. And I'll never forget the first time I went to her house. And I came from a home where you don't talk back, you don't speak unless you're asked to, and you're very rarely asked for. And if there's so many things you can do wrong, and you would get physically reprimanded if you said or did anything, literally soap in mouth, all of that stuff. And I remember going to her house, and we were going to her room, walking up the stairs, and her mom said, "Karen, you better clean up your room before you start playing." And I don't even think she said it that strong. She might have said, "Please clean up your room." I mean, because she was a very, gentle, kind woman. And Karen turned around, and my friend Karen's not that, she's not a ball buster by any means, but she turned around and looked at her mother and said, "If you tell me what to do one more time, I'm reporting you to Child Protective Services." And I was like, what? And I probably was 10. I hope she's not streaming, but we've laughed about this, so she knows I tell the story, because for me, that was so out of the realm of what you could do with how do you speak to your parents, or all of this. So I just want to say that I use this example because our understanding or expectations of what a mother should or should not do really affect how you see your relationship. And I'll never forget Edwene Gaines, because I held that for such a long time. All my problems are because my mom was mean to me. All my problems and all of my issues with people are because I grew up, put down, and I didn't have a mother that believed me. She not only didn't think I was beautiful, she called me ugly. She called me fat, ugly, and clumsy my entire bringing up. So all my problems with my self-image and my self-esteem are because of my mother. And the reality is, Edwene Gaines said to me one time, your mother's only job was to pop you out. The rest is gravy. And I went, what? But the point here is, if my expectations, like you were saying, if I can look back and see, she did do her job. Her job was to pop me out. That was her only job, and she popped me out well. The rest is expectations. And if I can see any positive thing she did for me as gravy, instead of seeing it as, yeah, she did this, but she didn't do this, and she didn't do this, and this. My choice to focus on what she could do versus what she didn't do, that's my choice and my choice alone. And that can make me feel better or worse. If I choose to focus on all the ways in which she was horrible, I will feel worse. If I choose every single way in what she could do, and that's what I did. When we thought she was dying on Tuesday, I said to her, I never thought in a million years I would say this. And I said to her, Mom, you are a wonderful mom. And I could not, I never in a million years thought I would ever say that, because I used to stand in front of cards, see if anybody can relate to this. When Mother's Day cards, birthday cards, I couldn't find one card that reflected how I felt about myself. Okay.
There was a time. I can agree.
Yes.
There was a time.
So for me to say, you are a wonderful mom. Thank you for everything you did for me. I love you so much. I so appreciate who you are as a mother, and you were a wonderful mother. And I could say that really from the bottom of my heart, because of all the work that I have done to own my own relationship with my mom. That's what she did to me as a child. She did because that was the best that she could do. She really, really, really didn't know any better. And at the same time, I didn't deserve any of what I had from her. I did nothing to make her do what she did to me. However, so I never have to be sorry for that. I never have to make an amends for that. I never have to feel bad that I got hurt, or that I was justifiably angry with that. But it is my responsibility how far I want to take that past hurt into my present day relationship with her and into the future of whatever happens. That's my responsibility. And I'm telling you, if you're listening and you hate your mother, which is not unusual, I will ask you, do you want to have peace in your life? If you want to have peace and you want to love yourself and you want to care for yourself, you gotta let that go, because that's hurting you more than it's ever hurting her. I don't care what she's done. It's all about you, boo.
It's interesting. I have quite a few feelings about those things. I was always taught, and it's just a word, but words are powerful. Never use the word hate. Never. It was always a taboo in my house. Everybody was like, my grandma was always like, hate is a very strong word. You don't hate anybody. In any case, in those times where I was troubled by the relationship with my mom, I would always stand tall, which sometimes is difficult, right? When you have those moments. And now that I look back on it, again, it is part of what's made me who I am. So I really do, in my gratitude journal, I say I'm grateful for my mother's perseverance. Again, it is what she knew, right? When I wrote my book and I gave it to her, I asked her after, I said, Mom, I said, what did you think? And it wasn't a book about childhood or anything like that. It was a book about self-development and where I am now. And she said, to the gist of it, she said, I feel like I didn't do enough. Like I feel like she didn't have enough, you know what I mean, to do. She did things differently. And so it was enlightening for me to hear that as a positive response, right? Because it is positive, because you look at something that your daughter has done, right? And then you reflect on your own life. And we don't get a second chance. The only thing we can do is take where we are and make it better. And I had a conversation with my daughter probably about, I don't know, 8 months, maybe a year ago. And I have learned that when you do things with a good heart, and I know that it's difficult sometimes, the hurt takes over. But if you learn, and this is one of the greatest gifts that I have ever learned, is gratitude. When you focus on what you do have, when you focus on the things that you can do. I had a mom who was there, who worked so hard, so long, right? She didn't have the perfect life, and she didn't make the best choices, but that is part of her journey and not mine. And so for us as the children, then I look back and I say, okay, well, this is what I gained, and this is what I've learned. And now this is my life, and this is how I'm going to do my life. Right.
Absolutely.
And so for the heart work, I told my daughter about 12 months ago, I said, she had a situation with a friend. And I said, this is the filter that we use. For me, this is how we filter it. Did we do it with a good heart? Right? If she didn't know any better and she thought she was doing well, then to me, she did the best she could.
Absolutely.
As you evolve, as you change, things will change. Your perspective will change. Your choices will change, right?
Yeah.
And how you do things will change.
Absolutely. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who's here and what we're talking about, you are tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa and
Cynthia Kai.
And this is our special Friday series called Fired Up Fridays here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm not going to take a break because we are on a roll, and this is one of those topics that does either bring severe happiness or severe unhappiness to people. The interesting concept, I went to look at the statistic on how many people actually have difficult relationships with their mother, and there isn't one there specifically for that, but there was one question of why do people have such a difficult time in their relationships with their parents. So we're focusing on mother-daughter only because we are mothers and daughters here. We will have both of those. I am in Toronto streaming right now. Cynthia is streaming from Northern
California. I'm in San Jose.
Yeah, absolutely. And she is, and I am, we're trying to get you to drink the Kool-Aid on how to be easier on not just yourself and your mother, but on that relationship in between. Now, we're also on Instagram. Hello to all the fabulous people who are streaming in there. If you go to YouTube, you can actually chat your comments or questions that you might have for us, and then we can put it up on the screen. But this is an area that does cause some consternation, and so we're hitting it head on. Now, you mentioned your relationship with your daughter and how you have sort of spoken about that. I know that with my daughters, you know, it's been an interesting, because of the difficulty in the relationship. You know, what do you tell your daughters? And oftentimes there's a better relationship between the grandmother and the grandchildren than there is between the mother and the daughter. And that's, again, it's not a personal thing. It just seems to be a funny dynamic. I think of a joke that, you know, when you're a parent, you say to your kids, don't play with matches. And then when a grandparent sees the child playing with matches and the house is burning down, they say, "Oh, look at how evenly the house is burning down." So I know with my kids, I was actually told that because of what happened to my mother and I, that I should not have my mother have a relationship with my grandchildren in case she did the same things to them that she did to me. And I was really grateful. I never took that advice. And I continued to, there was a point where they were growing up and my mother chose not to have a relationship with me at all. So it was out of my hands. And so she was not part of their growing up, the first part. But then since then they have a relationship, and my mom was kind enough to help with my daughter's tuition for their colleges with so they, they're grateful for that, and they have somewhat of a relationship. It is not at all acerbic, which is great. And did you have a similar experience with that?
I didn't. My mom and her mom, my grandmother, my nanny, they are very close. And yeah, I was thinking about basically the I don't know what the right term is, but hierarchy, I guess, grandmother, mother, daughter, right? So you have the generations. But what I was thinking as you were speaking about the relationship that you have is, we expect, right, our elders to know better. We expect them to do things in a way that benefit us because of our relationship, because of who they are, right? Well, she's my mom. She should know better. Well, she's my mom. She shouldn't talk to me that way. Well, she's my mom. She wants the best for me. But other circumstances in her life, their life, whomever it is, then they have different perspective, right? You talked about the expectations of your parents. And if you had expectations of your parents to do X, Y, Z, and they didn't, then you are going to, right? Then you're going to be let down. But here's the flip side. And this is what I've learned. If it's to be, it's up to me. Just because my mom is my mom doesn't mean she knows the best, right? I've learned, I've grown, I've had different experiences than she's had. So my toolbox is a little bit different than hers because of the experiences that I've had. So because of the experiences that I've had, I know that I can intentionally make my relationship what I want. If I chose, just like you had the opportunity to choose, no, I'm not going to have a relationship. I'm not going to have my children have a relationship with my mother, right? That would have been a choice. And that would have changed things dramatically, but you chose the opposite. So people don't know the power that they have. They don't know that they can have that choice to have a relationship, what they want it to be. They can make the relationship that they want if they choose to. I understand hurt. I understand, circumstances, and nothing is perfect. But if you want that relationship to work, if you want, your mom, even if it's I want to say like a sidebar relationship, not like a really intimate and a mom and loving relationship, but even if it's just a sidebar relationship where it's like you're almost like acquaintances, right? You care what happens, she cares what happens, but you don't necessarily have to be involved in everything. Then that's the relationship that you choose to have. She is your mother. She is the one who gave birth to you and popped you out. Even if it was her only job, then she has done that job. So I believe if you want to have a relationship, you get to choose what that is, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't leave it all up to your mother or your, the person that is older than you and supposed to know better, because maybe they don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great point, because there's a balance there. So a lot of people who still prescribe to that, oh, I wish my mom was my best friend because that's the way it's supposed to be. Or I'm going to call her every day and, she helps me pick out my clothes or what she thinks, it's like, what are your healthy boundaries or expectations on
Mhm.
what that relationship is? And I often have clients who come and say, I want to have that loving relationship, but she just can, every time I talk to her, she says I'm fat, or you shouldn't eat that, or you shouldn't, all of those things that trigger me. So I can't have a relationship at all. I don't want to have a relationship because it's just too painful, anxious, angry, frustrating. Fine. So then I say, you may cut her out of your life, but you're still giving her space in your head because you're still reacting every time something comes up, or someone says something, or someone says, how's your mother? Then the opposite of hate is not love. The opposite of hate is indifference. So can you get to a place where you just, as you were saying, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. There's something in the middle where you can care for yourself first. So if she is saying, and I used to do this on the phone as soon as I started talking, and if she got to the point where she's saying, you look fat in that dress, I would say, thanks, Mom. You know what? I got a meeting, gotta go. Love you. I'll call you later. Boom. And that was, because I knew at that point it was just going to get worse, or something that she, was just adamant about, that I knew I can never get her to say anything that I want her to say, because you cannot get milk from a tractor. Right? Tractors don't give milk. My mom is fundamentally who she's wired to be. And I know there's certain things that if I keep thinking that she's going to someday say everything that I want her to say, that's my bad.
That's right.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me
Right.
twice, shame on me. And so I have to let go of my desire to have her be the kind of mom that I thought a mom should be. She is. When I'm in a good place, I have compassion, because her mom told her, her at age 46, she had my mom. She had her first child at age 25. At age 46, she was a minister's wife. And so you weren't supposed to be having sex at that age. And so she was ashamed of having a daughter popped out at 46. So she told my mother, and this came out later when we had a relationship, and she could tell me that her mother actually said, I wish I had aborted you. So this is the kind of mother that my mother had. So I can have a little more compassion for the way my mother mothered. She only did what she learned through my grandmother. So here's the thing. Some of us, I said for the longest time, I don't want to have kids because I was afraid I was going to turn out to be like my mom. And here's the deal. Our job is just to be better than our moms were. And even if they were a great mom, you get to be a little bit better. That's the only job for me, so that I'm not trying to be the perfect mom, because I can't be. I still have a temper that I got from my mom. And my kids are not thrilled with that. And I apologize when I yell, and I'm trying not to yell. But I know that I am, of course, like my mom, because she was my primary role model, and I have genetics. But I just do a little better than she did.
Again, I'm like, I think that mine did the best she could with what she had, I love you, Mom. I don't know if you're watching, but I love you very much. I want to say something about acceptance, because accepting somebody as who they are, we can't change people, right? We cannot change people. You can accept them where they're at. You can love them for who they are, what they've given you, who they are in your life. The acceptance part is meeting them right where they are. And so in any relationship, it could be just your mom, it could be somebody else, it could be somebody that just came into your life. All of those relationships, I have learned the art of communication. It is absolutely amazing. Anything can be handled with communication. But you have to know, right, where they're at. If you're trying to push somebody to be somebody they're not, if you're trying to be somebody you're not because of them, then you're just going to keep doing this. But if you accept where you are, if you accept who they are and where they are at, then you ease into, okay, I am me and she is her, or they are they, or whoever they are. But it took me a long time just to say, okay, well, this is my mom. This is who she is, and this is who I am. And so the acceptance part, I think, is really important for that last part of a relationship when you're looking at a relationship. You can't change the person. You just absolutely cannot change them. There's an old adage or whatever saying that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can show them the way, you can give them the tools, but it's still their choice. Still their choice.
Yeah.
So meet them where they are. Acceptance is huge.
Yeah, acceptance is the answer for sure. Great point. I love the fact too that in life I had the ability to know that if I couldn't get a positive, affirming relationship with a mother, I developed the skill of adopting surrogate moms. From the time that I was, my first one was my English teacher. She was also my piano teacher, Mrs. Bryan. And I think I was 11 years old and I picked her, and she was the person that I went to when I was not feeling, good. Then there was Flugie, Mrs. Beryl Flug, who I remember very well, and her daughter Sharon may or may not be listening. And she was wonderful until she passed. She was my high school mom. And then I had a wonderful, beautiful grade 10 math teacher, JJ Bristow, who knew that something was up, and he kept me after class and he looked at me in the eye and he said, you can accomplish anything that you put your mind and heart to. And that changed my life. And it's funny, I was just watching the Anthony Robbins documentary on Netflix last night, and he had a similar moment of grace with someone who said that to him when he was in high school. And that's why I make it a point to look kids in the eye wherever I go speak. I want to go to a school where I get to look in the eye. India was the last place where I said to them, you can do anything that you put your heart and mind to, because that seed of belief from someone outside speaking on behalf of a friendly universe, I think is so important. So I'm saying that to you, if you're a child, I have a new, younger listening audience, and you are thinking that you're damaged or that you're never going to get ahead because you didn't have a supportive upbringing. That's not true. It doesn't matter what your upbringing is. You can do hard things, as Cynthia the book says. You can care for yourself and grow that inner a sense of strength, no matter what or who is the boss of you. When you have little control when you're young, you are the boss of you. As soon as you can understand what that means,
that's right.
When you can do that,
you have more control than you know. You have everything you need inside of you. It's just the seeking. Right? It's the seeking. I think that I know that we're getting short, but I want to wrap with this, because I think it's really important to have the title of mom, right? Nobody, in my opinion, nobody can take the place of your mom, ever. I will never give anybody a title of mom except my mom. And I believe that you have role models. You have people in your life that are placed there for a reason, to guide you, right? If you didn't have the role model in your mother that you wanted or that you thought that you needed, then other people are put in your path and in your life to help guide you along the way, right? And it's our job to seek the answers. Not everything is given to us. We have to be in a curious mindset, always asking questions. You can ask several questions, but always asking, always seeking. That's what I believe.
Absolutely. I disagree just a bit with the mom thing, only because I do have multiple moms. You know, I didn't mention Eva McCraven. She was my first boss at Hillview Mental Health Center, and she took the mom role. And now I have a bonus mom for the last 13 years, Dolores Martin, who's selling her stuff at Timeless Treasure Boutiques in Huntington Beach. She's 89, turning 90 in November, and still knitting, crocheting, felting, and selling her wares, original creations by Dolores at Timeless Treasures Boutique. So go visit her. But she gave me the gift of understanding what a mom could be. And so she is my bonus mom, and she is that mom. So and without taking away from my bio mom, but for me, whatever works for you to be able to choose a way to see what you have in the best possible light. I think that is my final word on, the solution. If you do have a difficult relationship with your mother, that it's not, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Take the good, and don't focus on what isn't, because what you focus on will grow bigger. I hope that what Cynthia and I have purposefully addressed today can help you improve your relationship with your mom, because it is such an important relationship that can either give you a set of glasses that are dark or a set of glasses that are transitional. It can be dark and it can turn into light. Wow, I've never said that one before. But
I like that analogy.
Thank you. I'm so grateful that we continue to be able to broadcast to you. Thank you to all the Instagram people who have been kind there. I put a survey question out there. Feel free to do it later. If you have any questions or comments, go to Cynthia. She's all over social. What is your social? Cynthia Kahi on Instagram. Everywhere,
all of it.
Right?
Everywhere.
Right?
It's all the same. I made it really easy.
I'm Doc Balance on Instagram, because I let someone choose that, because I am not, I didn't control that, but that's okay. Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa everywhere else. So grateful that you all continue to choose to tune in here every Friday, Fired Up Fridays with Cynthia and I. Please tune in next week for the same. Please do contact us and feel free to message. I know Cynthia's book is available everywhere. It is called
You Can Do Hard Things.
And then my book, 8 Ways to Happiness. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my loving room, remote from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Cynthia from Northern California. You know the drill. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. See you Monday. Have the best weekend ever. Now go forth and have the best relationship with your mom. Have the best week.